Hey guys, if you haven't heard, there's a new hero to land in the Idle Heroes metagame. It's Elyvia. She's a priest for the Forest faction, and today we're going to be talking about her skills, and how she's going to affect the Idle Heroes metagame. So let's get into today's video. So before we get things rolling, I'd love to give a shout out to Renee Summers, who's decided to back me on Patreon. If you want to be like Renee and help me out, you can find a link below in the description or up here in the corner of the screen. So, if you guys want to also help me out like Renee, you can do just that, and every little goes to help me making more content on this channel. Now, Elyvia, the hero that everyone seems to be scratching their head about. Is she worth investing? Well, she's not changing the meta like Carrie or Tara did, or Ada for that matter when she came out. She's more a hero that you can build if you want to, but isn't necessary to have a good time playing Idle Heroes. Initially taking a look at her, you can tell she's got some interesting abilities. For example, she can shrink an opponent to make them take more damage and deal less themselves. She can provide the Fairy's Guard, which will act a bit like Amun-Ra's shield ability, but instead it doesn't disappear, it stays for 2 rounds and heals your team, whilst also dealing damage back to the opponent. And then of course, she has an ability which I think is her most potent. She can speed swap with an opponent. So what does all this mean for the Idle Heroes metagame? Well, if you've played any remotely tactical game, such as Pokemon, or even trading card games, such as Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Magic the Gathering, and then there's also complex board games, such as Twilight Imperium, Brass Birmingham, Gloomhaven, and even Inish, you'll know that initiative or turn order are essential when playing these games. So, why should it be any different for Idle Heroes? Well, it isn't. Speed is everything, especially in player versus player. When you are presented with a mix of heroes, how do you decide which one attacks first? Well, it just comes down to the speed stat. So a hero that can manipulate speed is always exciting news for people that play Idle Heroes. We already have Emily, Belrain, Nakia. These manipulate speed, and often in a really good way. We can see other ways of manipulating speed and tempo, such as through energy stealing, which is why Carrie is such a good hero. So now we have another hero that can do this, Elyvia. And I would argue that her speed swap ability is what is going to make or break her as a hero in PvP. So, let's take a look. Elyvia has an ability called Exchange Not Steal, which allows her to swap her speed with one random opponent who is quicker than her. This lasts for a round and triggers at the end of the round. So there's 2 things we can take from this. First is that we want Elyvia to survive, because if she doesn't make it to the end of the round, this ability will not trigger. Secondly, we want her to be slower than the opponents we're aiming to swap with, because if you're not going to swap. So I guess it's good then that she clocks in at only 1161 speed. Now to some of you that might seem fairly quick, but trust me, it isn't. The slowest fast hero there is Cruz, and he clocks in at 1168. Above that we see a bunch of heroes clocking in at 1172, and that's Garuda, Amun-Ra, Tara, Asmodol, Aspen. There's tons. So quite frankly, there's loads of heroes that she could potentially hit, and trust me, there's even more that go off with 1188 or even off into the 1200s. So Elyvia will not have a hard time swapping her speed with relevant heroes. But do you really want her to have the chance to swap with everyone on the opposing team? Because after all then, there'll only be a 1 in 6 chance you hit the hero you're really after. The way to get around this is to give Elyvia a speed stone. This will mean that she's going quicker than heroes that don't have speed stones, even if their base speed is higher than her. So you'll be quicker than Garudas, you'll be quicker than Taras that aren't built for speed. And this can be helpful. Why? Well, it's because you are limiting the pool of heroes she can swap with, so you're more likely to swap with Carrie or Ada if they're the heroes you really want to go for. This matters because as the defender, you have a hard time when it comes to speed. In Idle Heroes, the attacker breaks ties. So if your Ada is as fast as the opponent's Ada, if they're attacking you, their Ada will go first with its active skill. That active skill will then mean that your Ada is marked, which means when she immediately uses her active skill afterwards, she gets hurt by the mark. That is bad news. If Elyvia can slow down the opponent and make sure your Ada goes first, then you might just be on for a good game. Speed manipulation, however, is something that shouldn't be toyed with early game players, because quite frankly the difference between heroes in early level is so great it's kind of hard to prepare for, and you really should be focusing on damage and PvE rather than trying to manipulate every nuance you can. Speed swaps are much more important in endgame, where every little thing can help. Combine the speed swap ability with her active skill that will allow you to both shrink an enemy and use Fairy's Guard. We have ourselves a pretty decent hero. The shrink debuff means the opponent takes more damage, which is always a good thing, which could give your team the edge, especially if you're the defender. As well, when the Fairy's Guard is triggered, that means you can heal heroes, which means they'll take less damage, and it also deals more damage back to the opponent. These are all good things, which means Elyvia isn't just a speed swapper, she can also give the opponent a pretty tough time. So, how do we build her? Well, I've already suggested you could give her a speed stone if you want to make sure you're hitting heroes that are already built for speed. And after all, if your opponent is building a hero for speed, they obviously want them to go as quick as possible, so any decrease in speed, even if it's just 1 point, will help you if you're the defender. If you're the attacker, however, you may find that Elyvia isn't as beneficial. And that's because if you are building her for speed, the difference that she gives the opponent might only be as much as 11 speed points. And that kind of difference is only really going to change speed orders if there's a bunch of heroes all packed together. But as the attacker, you break speed ties, so you will be attacking first. So if I have to give my honest opinion of this speed swap ability, it's that you want to run it on a defensive team, but not on an attacking team. You should probably be getting some alarm bells from that immediately. And that's, can I really afford to have a hero I'm just going to use on defensive lineups? Well, Elyvia isn't just a hero that you can use for PvP. She's a hero that you can use in PvE as well. These Fairy's Guards will allow you to heal and use damage against opponents, and I think that actually makes her probably one of the best healers in the game, if not the best healer in the game for PvE. She heals your team and deals damage back at the opponent. Brilliant. Some people are already opting on running carry in PvE because no active skills for opponents means you're not going to die anyway, which is also a viable strat. But you may also know that at E5, it's kind of hard for heroes to die anyway, unless you're at the really late stages of PvE. So maybe even then, Elyvia's not going to be that great. There are other things though. Her shrink ability is quite handy for increasing the damage an opponent takes, so maybe there's some use for that there. Overall though, is Elyvia a hero for you to build? Well, if you can afford to have a hero on your defensive lineup that isn't going to be used in your attacking lineup, then I'd say yes. But for most people, that's just going to be the people at the very end of the game that can afford to have heroes they just use in niche circumstances. I would personally rather build a Nakia if you really need that speed swap ability. So, really, Elyvia, are you a hero I'd give an approval rating for? I don't think so. She's not a hero I would personally build because she's too limited in her usefulness. That doesn't mean she's bad, it just means she's niche. So where will you find her on a tier list? Well, I'd say you'll find her in a tier alongside heroes such as Emily, Nakia, Faithblade, heroes that have a usefulness, but really you shouldn't be jumping immediately to go build. Even in that tier list, I would, as I said, rather just build Nakia. So, sorry Elyvia, you're not going to be a hero for me. I'm not going to be able to recommend you to the Idle Heroes community as something that most people will want to have. If you're a whale, go ahead, stick that Elyvia on your defensive lineup and watch yourself win speed ties. That's always nice. But bear in mind, it's only going to be one opponent and it's only going to be for one round. Elyvia, she has a place in my heart. After all, she does look pretty badass. But sadly, guys, she's not a hero I can recommend. So let's talk about some alternative choices and things to consider. If you do find yourself with an Elyvia, you'll notice she isn't having anything special from her passive skill bonuses. She's got an addition to HP, that's okay, an addition to attack, sure, and the effect of being healed is increased by 30%, so great, she's going to get more healing. But that's it. no control immune, no damage reduction. It's not exciting. Again, not things that are jumping out to me as brilliant stats. She's just a bit funny, isn't she, guys? She's just a hero that you wish could be great, but I'm kind of glad she isn't. That's not to say she's terrible, but remember when Nakia came out? Nakia really didn't do much, and I think Elyvia is going to be pretty much in the same boat. But actually, from a meta standpoint, I like this. A hero that isn't breaking the game, that has a usefulness, that is available to some, but isn't going to hurt people if they don't have her. It's almost as if DH Games have woken up and realised, yeah, people want heroes that they can use, rather than heroes that they have to use. There's a difference between can and have, and if you look at the heroes they've recently released, Unimax, God, he's essential. Amon-Ra, when she came out, if you didn't have one, you weren't going to win. Look at Carrie, okay? Carrie is just devastating. Tara, shutting down your passive skills, it hurts if you haven't got a Tara to do that too. Maybe it's not as essential. I mean, sure, Tara's quite niche. We'll talk about him in a second, but it's even then, he's still pretty good. And Garuda, don't get me started on Garuda. If you haven't got a Garuda and you're facing a team with Garuda, good luck. Garuda just adds so much more damage to your team, it's unreal. Like, come on. So I look at this and go, oh, that's nice. It's a hero we don't need to chase. You can get her if you want. She's not game breaking. She's just adding a little bit of utility to a game where utility is always welcome. She's not forcing us to use our scrolls, which means we can save up for bigger events in the future, such as Anniversary. I like this, and if more heroes come out, like Elyvia, that aren't breaking but fun to use, I will happily continue to play this game and enjoy it just like I do. Now, before we finish up today, let's talk a little bit about how she interacts with game mechanics. Tara. You should know. Tara has the fantastic seal ability. You know what? Let's go get him up. Tara's seal can shut down an opponent. When the power of light stacks 2 layers, Seal of Light will be triggered, lasting for 2 rounds. Heroes inflicted with the Seal of Light cannot release their passive skills. Now, what does this mean for poor old Elyvia? It means no more shrink, no more speed swap. Ouch. They are amazing things that she has, and if Tara can shut that off, Elyvia just becomes dead in the water. If you then get her hit by CC, she's literally useless. Does this mean Elyvia's day is ruined? Well, I'd say any hero that gets sealed by Tara is pretty much having a tough time, but Elyvia has it worse than most because she literally doesn't do anything else apart from provide brilliant passive abilities. Sure, her active skill does have some nice damage behind it, but do you really want to build a hero that has no damage reduction and no crowd control for attack? I mean, personally, I'm not sure. I'd rather give her some HP in her build, at least maybe even a damage reduction artifact, because poor old Elyvia is just gonna get killed if you don't give her something to help her live. Maybe those forest guards will make the difference in her survival, but there's a chance they just won't. Oh, Elyvia, it's hard to recommend you. So overall, I see Elyvia as a refreshing addition to the game. She's not broken, she's just good. She's a hero you can use if you want to, but you don't have to. It's just a nice addition. Would I recommend her? Probably not. But if you can go ahead and build her, enjoy, have fun. I guess it's a hero you can build if you want to and have some good times with, and stick her in a defensive lineup, you'll definitely win some speed ties, as I said before, and winning speed ties is definitely really going to help. I think some higher end whales might find some usefulness for her, especially in interdimensional arena, just to tweak and nuance teams to give them the edge. But is it a hero you need? Well, if you're watching this and you don't have thousands of pounds to blow on this game, Probably not. Just get yourself Garuda, get yourself Ada, get yourself Carrie, get the heroes that really matter at the moment, and have some fun. Maybe, just maybe, if you do pick up the copies from Profit Orb replacements, then you can consider, I should get this hero. But do you need to be running and spending your cash and hard-earned scrolls on this hero now? Nah. If you've enjoyed this video, guys, and you found it insightful, why don't you give me a subscribe, a like, and if you haven't already, why don't you join our Discord down below or back me on Patreon? If you do back me on Patreon, there is a unique Discord channel available just for the people that back me on Patreon where you can get in touch with me. So if you like the sound of that, maybe that's something for you. If you want to check out some more of my content, you can find it on the side of the screen here. And again, guys, I will urge you, if you do not already, why not subscribe? Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I hope you found this discussion great. Leave some comments down below and have a great week. Happy idling.